And we welcome you inside the Memorial Coliseum. IPFW in their home opener of the 07-08 basketball season against Valpo. Tommy Schegler along with Keon Henderson. We're going to get to the starting lineups as we got started here a little late. We apologize, we had some technical difficulties, but hey, it's early on in the season. We'll get it right here soon. But right now we go to the first possession of the basketball game and a quick whistle right away on DeWitt Scott for IPFW. The starting lineup for the Dons, or we'll start with Valpo. It's Aurelia Igbavoa starting. He is a player that you're going to want to watch out for the Crusaders. McPherson is a point man. He's going to get them into their offense. And other starters for the Crusaders is Hoppa, Diebler, and Huff as they score the opening possession of the game, a three for Valpo right off the bat. We'll get to the Don starting lineup here as the ball is kicked out of bounds. Starting in the starting lineup, Ben Botts is in there. He, of course, had the great game the other night against Wisconsin. Jakari Johnson, DeWitt Scott, as well as Jerron Burrows. And that is the way that the starting lineup looks for IPFW. Let's get to their first possession of the game here. They're down 3-0 early. Like we said, this is their opening possession, and that's Jakari Johnson getting inside and getting an easy two.
Hopper's looked pretty excited to be out there today. Hopper is coming off of that screen and is looking good early. DeWitt looks like he's giving it all he can to stick up with him.
And quick foul there on Jerron Burrows. So two quick fouls picked up by the Dons. Jerron Burrows getting tagged for one and DeWitt Scott for another. So two team fouls, and we're less than a minute in. But at least you see the Dons out challenging the Crusaders on the wing. It's a team in Valpo that was a very young team a year ago, and now they've kind of come of age. McPherson, three ball good.
Looks like those guys are eyeing that three up today.
There's legendary coach Homer Drew has kind of developed this team. We mentioned very young a year ago. All their main players back. This Botts in the corner. Now they're going to swing it. Dump it down into Burrows. Burrows double teamed immediately. Ball on the floor. Coming up with it is Johnson. And Burrows, the follow, can't get it to go, but a foul called. He'll go to the line.
Burrow looks pretty long out there. Pretty long out there. Stretching out like that. That's a good follow-up, good tip-up. Way to be aggressive.
Very big wingspan for the senior from the Bahamas. He's listed at 6'8". That foul going against Igbavoa down low will be good for IPFW to get Igbavoa into foul trouble. He, of course, one of their best players, averaging 8 points. They've only played one game, as have the Dons, as Burrows gets one of two.
I remember playing the second half of that free throw was almost always the most difficult.
And getting into the lane, trying to hit the runner, and does, is Jake Diebler.
Interesting, the Dons have been on defense 3 times and they haven't gotten to stop yet. These guys are going to have to step up and help each other out in the paint.
Two closely contended games between these two teams a year ago. Valpo leads the series 6-0, looking for a 7-game sweep literally tonight. Jakari Johnson, three ball good.
That shot is always there when you drive and kick. It's always there when you drive and kick.
Well, we were talking before the game, Keon, that if the Dons are going to be successful this year, of course, you have the rebounding and the defense is always a mainstay for any team, but they got to hit from the outside. McPherson gets to the bucket and gets it to go.
Again, as we stated earlier, it's so important that guys clog up that middle, force guys to shoot that outside shot, even though they're making it right now.
Here's Demetrius. Dribble drive, runner goes. Dons a quick little run, now down just 2 at 10-8. 16:46 left to go here in the first half from the Coliseum. Home opener for IPFW in their first year in the Summit League. And turnaround shot off glass and good for Sean Huff. That was a pretty shot.
I know it may sound comical, and guys on Valpo are making all the shots, but sometimes that's dangerous because guys sort of cool off as the game goes along. Good hustle by Scott, good hustle.
Ben Botts missed that shot. He was 4 of 5 from behind the arc the other night in the season opener against Wisconsin. Really sparked a run that saw the Dons go up by as many as 11 in the first half against the Badgers on their home floor. Fortunately, in the end, the size of the Big Ten Badgers ends up nipping the Dons, as shooting and scoring is Samuel Hampa. The Dons losing their opener 83-58 as a foul is called. And that foul is going to be on Samuel Hampa after nailing the shot on the other end to put his team up 6.
I tell you, somewhere between the beginning and the end of this game, we've got to get a stop. We've got to get a stop.
That would be nice. All right, so this is Jakari Johnson at the line, dropping in the first of 2. Jakari had 2 points in the opening game the other night. Pretty good crowd out here. We haven't gotten an official number on attendance, but not a bad crowd out here for the opener. Here's McPherson. Hampa working on Scott. Now they dump it down into the big guy. Igbovoa up and under, gets it to go. Immediate timeout, we will take it with them. Our score 16-10, IPFW down 6 right now to Valpo. We will be back after this.
Instead of living in a dorm room.
I've gone away to a college that really isn't that far away at all.
I go to IPFW.
IPFW.
I go to IPFW.
To find out more about college life at IPFW, go to our website. Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, 2 great names.
Hi, I'm Russell Simmons. Today I want to talk to you about a very important subject, cruelty to animals. Emmy was a victim of cruelty and someone did something about it. Someone called the ASPCA and put an end to it, because Emmy can't talk. The fact is, animals are abused all over this country and people sit by and do nothing. It's not slick or fly or cool or none of that. It's just cruel. If you're aware of any animal abuse, go to aspca.org. Find out what you can do now and make a difference. She can't do it for herself.
Back inside the Memorial Coliseum, IPFW in a 6-point hole right now. Early on in this game, we have 15:39 left to go here in the first half of the home opener. Tommy Schegler along with Keon Henderson. Keon, we got on a little bit late, didn't have a chance to talk a lot in the pregame. What do you feel like are the keys for this Dons team to come out with a win here in their home opener tonight?
Well, what's interesting is I've been watching DeWitt and Hopper all day. DeWitt's one of our best players, one of our best scorers, but he also has the responsibility of guarding the best scorer for the opposition. So DeWitt's going to have to find a way to be explosive on both ends of the floor, and I think he'll do fine if he does that.
Here is Hampa working on DeWitt. Fade away, he had to settle for it. Comes up with nothing but air. Now DeWitt on the other end, wisely holds it up. He had Igbovoa right in his face. And putting it in, Jakari Johnson. Nice dribble drive on the baseline to put it in, to cut the lead down to 4. Quick pass down low, turnaround shot off glass, no good. And ball will go to IPFW.
Got our first defensive stop. Those things add up for us on the other end.
That was Jared Lloyd on the miss. He is fresh into the game here for Homer Drew, and Hanpa now coming out of the game and checking in for the first time tonight is Howard Little, a freshman out of Illinois. So DeWitt may be able to get some things done now, not having to work as hard on the defensive end. Burrows with it. Here's Demetrius Johnson. Dumps it down into Burrows. Working on Ingbavoa. He tried to flop, wouldn't go. Fouled on the shot, no good, but he will go to the line to shoot two, Will Burrows.
When you have ball movement like that, the end result is always almost positive.
Yeah, they moved it around pretty good there. And you know, that's one thing about Burrows is that he can handle it up top. Maybe doesn't have the threat to shoot, but he can handle it with the ball in his hand. He can distribute the basketball as he drops in the first.
Key of getting those guys open is they got to set good screens. I see Coach Fight has them running some baseline routes, if you will, for lack of better terms. And who's ever at that bottom block has got to make sure they set a solid screen so that shooter can be open coming off the baseline.
Burrows drops in both. So the Dons now within two, and checking in, fan favorite Zelko Egerick for the first time here in the home schedule of 07-08. Burrows takes a seat. 14 minutes left to go here in the first half from the Coliseum. Dons down two, visiting Valpo.
Good to see Egerick in the game. He was here when I was here.
Lloyd gets to the bucket around Jakari Johnson.
No problem with our offense now. We've just got to stop somebody.
You're telling me before the game that you guys always played Valpo pretty close when you guys used to play them as well. It seems like this is kind of a nice little rivalry between two in-state schools.
If you think about it, there's a lot of Indiana in the house. We got Coach Drew from Indiana. Coach Fife played at Indiana, so we got a lot of Indiana blood here in the building.
Absolutely, as Jakari Johnson called for a travel, so ball will go back over to the Crusaders.
No, the key to winning any game is just recognizing that you're just as good as your opposition. And if they're better, you just got to scrap and get after it.
Well, in this building a year ago, also basically the same game. It was the second game of the season when these two met here a year ago. And a charge called there. DeWitt Scott, the senior, picking up the charge. Great play.
DeWitt just stepped right in there, sacrificed his body, wasn't worried about himself. Great team basketball.
Well, yeah, close game here. Early portion of the season last year as well. Dons had a lead in that game. They eventually fell by 8, but I can remember it being a close battle throughout, and you would expect the same thing tonight. This is Chris Perkins into the game for the first time tonight. And here's Demetrius Johnson working down low on McPherson. Goes baseline, couldn't get it to go. Kind of got cut off by the backboard there. Now Lloyd the other way. Lloyd seems to think he can get right around Johnson whenever he wants.
Yeah, if you watch him, he never goes sideways. He's up and down. He's north and south, never east and west.
Demetrius looking to run. Lead pass up to Jakari. Back to Demetrius. Two-man game. Jakari into the lane. DeWitt Scott, you can't leave him open. Oh!
Even though that missed, that's still a great shot by Scott. Just got to take what the defense gives you.
Down low. Post move, pretty good one. Left hand by Callum McLeod. He's the fill-in for Igbavoa as he went to the bench, but the Dons quickly back down with a transition bucket.
Been watching. The Dons are getting the ball up the court pretty swiftly.
Nice move by Jakari there to beat everybody down. Zach Plackmeyer set to check in for the Dons the next dead ball. We are at 12 minutes left here in the first half. Dons down 4 to Valpo. Sean Huff working on Scott. Now Lloyd. McPherson, 3-ball, no good. Here comes DeWitt.
Here's an opportunity for us to capitalize. Make sure we get some touches.
Here's DeWitt again. Bang!
Or maybe not.
Yeah, he's not going to miss from there twice in a row. That's for sure. And he cuts it to a 1-point lead for Valpo here, almost at the midway point of the first half.
Valpo setting some pretty solid screens right around that paint area.
There's Little, long two, no good. Weak side rebound comes down to Jakari. He gives off to Demetrius. Demetrius, of course, battled injuries as a walk by Z there. And we've reached another timeout on the floor. The Dons starting to get together on the defensive end, and DeWitt Scott starting to hit on the offensive end. That is a good combo. We will be back. We will be back with the rest of the first half after this.
Like most kids, I work hard, I go to class, and I want a degree that's going to mean something. I had offers from other universities, but I wanted the best out of my college choice. I wanted a great education and the campus life to go with it. Student housing, Division I sports, I found it all right here at IPFW. Hey, this is my university, my life, so it's got to feel right. I'm really glad I chose IPFW. I love it here. Go to their website.
Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, two great names.
What can Dinosaur Tracks teach us about those long extinct creatures? On this month's edition of IPFW Up Close, we'll discuss Professor Jim Farlow's recent trip to Spain to track those tracks. Do teachers teach differently from one country to another? Professor Jeff Nowak was in Macedonia this summer teaching teachers to teach. We'll talk to him about that experience and about the new NISTEM program. And we'll talk with the campus coordinator of the United Way Fund Drive to find out more about where your contributions are going. Join me, Susan Alderman, for IPFW Up Close, Sundays at noon.
Starting to come around on the offensive end, and more importantly, Keon, they've started to come around on the defensive end, forcing some bad shots.
Yeah, forcing some bad shots. I'm looking at the statistics. Valpo's shooting about 64% from the field. IPFW is shooting about 60%. Both are shooting over 50 and 60 respectively from the three-point strike. Both teams shooting well today.
All right, so here's Brandon McPherson, the point man, gives off to Hampa. He's back in the game after a few minutes on the bench. And foul away from the ball, and that may be DeWitt Scott, his second personal.
We stated that earlier. It's going to be tough for DeWitt to be able to stay level-headed and be able to be explosive on both ends of the floor, guarding one of the best players on the team in Hopper.
Absolutely. All right, so here's Hampa to inbound it. He triggers. Now they get it up top quickly. McLeod has position on Z, and that's too easy.
That's a long guy. He turned around and it seemed like he threw it down instead of up.
Yeah, McLeod stands at 7-1 from New Zealand. Here's Perkins on the wing. Hits Blackmeyer. Blackmeyer can't get it, but a nice offensive board by Z. And now Egerick, the three. Can't hit. First three attempt on the home floor. He's had some memorable ones over the course of last season. This is Little with the ball, giving off. Now McLeod again. Egerick.
I tell you what, McLeod may be 7-1 from foot to head, but when you add those arms, he's about 9 feet.
Yeah, he absolutely is. He is a big, long dude. All right, so he'll go to the line to shoot two. That foul was the first on Zelko. Take a look at the replay. Getting into the lane without a problem was Diebler, and a nice bounce pass, and then Egerick just really had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, that bounce pass is the only pass that works there. You throw a chest pass, it's an interception automatically.
Too many hands in there going around. All right, so McLeod gets 1 of 2 and lead now at the midway point of the first half, 23-19. Little light pressure, 3/4 court, shown by Homer Drew.
Good tackles by the Dons. If you saw what he did when he got trapped, he didn't try to pass out. He stepped right through those two guys.
Now Drew's shown a zone. We'll see how the Dons offense does against the zone. Ben Bott tries to shoot over it. He hasn't been able to find the range in a couple of attempts tonight. Igbavoa called for an offensive foul as he kind of got up and under the chin of Demetrius Johnson and kind of hooked him as they had that post-entry pass. So foul called on the big fella. And that is 3 already against Igbavoa. So that is great for the Dons.
Be interesting to see how Bots does against Hopper. There's an 8-inch difference there. We'll see if Hopper goes up and down and try to go over here.
Now, we mentioned early on, Bots, just a great debut the other night against Wisconsin. 4 of 5 from behind the arc. And they could really use his outside shooting to spark things from time to time. High screen. Now the roll by Burrows. Never found him. Demetrius, jump ball, they call. And it will stay with IPFW. 9 minutes to go in the first half from the Coliseum. Tommy Schegler along with Keon Henderson. The 4-point Crusader lead. A little bit of confusion here at the scorer's table. They're trying to decide whether or not to reset the shot clock. And some players will check in here for the Crusaders. McLeod going to come off. At this point, that's a good thing. Brian Bucci checks in for Homer Drew, as well as coming back into the game. Sean Huff, and the shot won't fall. Going to the line to shoot 2 will be Burrows.
You know, Tom, I love the aggressiveness of the Dons on those rebounds. You can tell Coach Fife makes it essential for those guys to go up after the ball and to make sure they're boxing somebody out when that ball is released.
Well, and when you look at the Dons roster, they need to have that tenacity if they're going to be successful.
It's kind of like the David and Goliath syndrome. Just because you're smaller, you got to remember giants do fall.
Missed first free throw by Burrows. It stays at a 4-point Valpo advantage. And Jakari Johnson checks back in. Chris Perkins will take the seat. Really enjoy watching Jakari Johnson play.
Very aggressive, very aggressive.
When you have him and Demetrius, Burrows misses both. Him and Demetrius Johnson on the floor at the same time. You have 2 really aggressive guards that are going to push it. And JJ seems to be able to work well off one another.
Watching the Dons out there with Johnson at the guard, kind of reminiscent of when Phil Jackson used to put those teams together in Chicago and LA with that big guard out top.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a little Scottie Pippen-esque. Here comes Jakari flying up the floors. Another good defensive stop. Dons have really picked it up the last couple minutes on defense.
I know Coach Fife. He gave him some words in that huddle.
Jump stop, can't hit on the bunny was Jakari. Here come the Crusaders. Diebler. Crossover into the lane, and foul going to be called on Bots, I believe. A little bit of a reach on Ben Bots.
You know, I think some fouls are good fouls, though. I'd rather give a guy an opportunity to make it in another way from the line rather than just give him the 2. I think it's a good choice by Bots to make sure that he doesn't get that shot off.
And here is Diebler from the line. First one, no good. Been stuck on 23-19 for several minutes. And the second one is good for Diebler.
Valpo comes out in the press, it looks like a 1-2-2.
All right, here's Burrows. To Demetrius.
Not a very aggressive press, just a little pressure to show something.
Jakari short, as we've seen a number of the 3 attempts by the Dons tonight come up just a little bit short. Hampa. Oh, and a foul called. And we're going the other way. Is that going to go against Hampa? That charge called. He was a little out of control, and timeout on the floor. 24-19, Dons down by 5. We will return after this with the rest of the first half.
You know, if she continues to spill product at a rate of 3 per hour, unit cost, say 60 cents. Factor in breakage, downtime, lost sales, you're looking at $2,400 a month. Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, two great names.
Parents, there's something you can do to protect your kids from drugs and alcohol. Combine ground beef with egg, tomato sauce, breadcrumbs, and spices. Bake in an oven-safe pan at 350 for 50 minutes. Serve hot.
This is Jamie Lee Curtis. Children who eat dinner with their families are less likely to smoke, drink, or use drugs. So, have dinner together every day.
Delicious.
A message from CASA, the National Center on Addiction and Substance Abuse at Columbia University.
Home opener here for IPFW at the Memorial Coliseum for the 07-08 season. They're down to Valpo right now at the 7:38 mark of the first half by 5 points. Tommy Schegler with Keon Henderson. Keon, we've talked a lot about the size of the Dons and how they're kind of a smaller team. They need to be successful from the outside, and that means a lot of threes along the way.
Yeah, they took 25 last game against Wisconsin, and I bet you Coach Drew, being as smart as he is, you know, we have a tendency as basketball players to take the quick shot when the press is applied, and we saw that the Dons did that on the last 2 trips. We'll see if they'll be more patient with this opportunity with 7:30 to go in the half.
All right, run sets out of the break, and we'll see what Coach Fife has come up with. They dump it down into Burrows. Burrows working on Bucci, gets around him, no problem, can't hit the baby. Putback won't go. Here come the Crusaders. This is Diebler. Diebler on the wing. This is a nice little battle going on between Burrows and Bucci, and he has the ball right now. Caught up underneath the hoop, but the reverse goes. Dons need a bucket.
Make sure we stick closer and we'll give ourselves a chance.
And foul called on the drive by Demetrius Johnson. If you want somebody to be aggressive, just throw it to Demetrius, because that guy's got no fear in him whatsoever. Jake Diebler called for the foul.
Demetrius is a good friend of mine. That guy, he's intense wherever he is. You see him at church, he's intense. You see him just in a casual setting, he's intense. Just a serious guy.
Another great transfer for Coach Fife that he brought in here, senior, out of Cleveland, Ohio.
Looks like Diaz put on a little weight since the last time I saw him.
They come tough out of Cleveland. Tough guys always come from Cleveland. All right, Lloyd here for the Crusaders. The other way, Diebler. Hampa, 3 on the way, good.
I tell you, taking nothing away from our guys, Hampa's one heck of a player.
Absolutely. He is a great player, and he has given the Crusaders an 8-point lead with 6:22 left in the first. And this is a problem the Dons had a lot last year. And they had it the other night against Wisconsin, frankly. Come out strong, keep it close as a hold is called away from the ball down low, and I think it's going to go against Bucci. But they've had trouble finishing halves, both the first and second half. And they have these lulls, and they put themselves in holes by the time the second half starts.
In a game of basketball, it's always hard to play catch-up. And one cliche any coach will always tell you, it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. And you've got to finish with the same intensity that you start the game with.
And here's Burrows from the line. He's already been there several times tonight. He's now 4 of 7 from the stripe.
One interesting fact is as we look at statistics, Valpo's been right around 66% shooting the entire game. Ours is going from 60 down to 35, so we just need to get the ball in, better shot selections, try to get a few layups and get to the free throw line, get ourselves back in this one.
Chris Perkins is back into the game. Plackmeyer takes a seat on the bench. 3 ball on the way for Huff is good. Nothing but net. 9-point lead. Burrows, dump pass, down low to Demetrius, stolen away by Hampa. Here come the Crusaders the other way.
Right now, Valpo's just being the aggressor.
And here's Huff. Look for a cutter now. Kicks it, wing to Bucci. Wow, he nails a three. 3 straight threes for the Crusaders, and the lead is now 12. Coach Fife may need a timeout. And that's exactly what he gets. 35-23. 5:27 left to go in the first half. We'll be back with more IPFW basketball in a minute.
Mom, Dad, you know we love kids, and I've made a decision that will totally change my life. Cameron's too. It's a huge responsibility, leading someone into, who knows, communication or science or math. That's what life's all about, right? Learning so you can pass on knowledge to younger minds. Dad, Mom, I want to be a teacher.
Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, two great names.
Life is good, but with a master's degree from IPFW, it could be even better. You could land a promotion, earn more money, become a leader in your field. And IPFW makes it easy. With affordable tuition, night and weekend classes, and more than 20 graduate programs from business to education to public affairs and more. Become the master of your future. Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. Your graduate university.
Back to live action here at the Coliseum. The Dons just with an over and back violation coming out of the timeout, but an air ball thrown up by Lloyd and a block called on Lloyd as he tried to draw the charge against Demetrius Johnson. That'll send Demetrius to the line for 2. That's double bonus.
Crusaders are shooting 80% from behind the three-point arc. We have got to get out and contest some of those shots and make those guys put the ball on the floor and do something besides sit and have target package at the three-point arc all day long.
Demetrius drops in the first, and I'm 66% overall, something that you want to get down as well, but 83 from behind the arc is staggering.
You're doing anything almost 7 times out of 10, you're doing pretty good.
Demetrius drops in both, so it's now a 10-point lead for Valpo with 5 minutes left to go here in the first half. You'd like to see this cut in half if you're the Dons. McLeod and McPherson going to check in at the next dead ball. Here's Huff into the lane. Could have walked, kicks to Bucci. That's going to be off. Another air ball.
You can see the intensity in defense inside based on the threes. You can see that the Dons are really adamant about not allowing them to get anything they wanted. And look at the result.
I think that Coach Fife might have had a few things to say in that last timeout.
Pretty sure. He's like any other coach in America. He has something to say.
Okay, Dons with an opportunity here to cut into things. Ball deflected out of bounds by Diebler. It will stay with IPFW. Here is Bots. Bots to Jakari. Back up to Jakari after a swing to Demetrius. Dons working on the outside, trying to get it down low. They do to Demetrius, who waits the double team, kicks. Perkins can't get the jumper to go. Huff into the lane. Thought he was going to pull up there. He had an open look, but they're trying to get it down into McLeod. McLeod working on Eggerick. That's a matchup they want all day. Can't hit the hook, though. And here comes IPFW. Here is Jakari. And now Bots. Perkins baseline. Don's got lucky. It kicked out to Jakari because it went off of Z's hands.
Wants to pull it back out.
And a charge called on Eggerick. Timeout on the floor. Don still down 10. 3:28 to go in the first half. Let's see if they can make a run when we come back.
everything you need? Paper, pencils? We only ask that you do your best.
I made you a snack.
Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, two great names.
I can no longer make my mortgage payment.
We won't be able to make our mortgage.
I can't pay my mortgage right now.
Life throws everyone lots of curves. Sometimes it's a loss of income or an expensive health emergency. If that happens to you, call the people expecting your payment and let them know. They'll want to work something out. So at the first sign of payment trouble, call. They can help, but only if they know you need help. To learn more, visit homeloanlearningcenter.com. That's homeloanlearningcenter.com.
Dons down 10 points on the hands of some hot shooting by Valpo here from behind the line. Late portions of the first half. And the Dons really need to make a run here in the last 3:28, Keon, if they want to try to get some momentum headed into the second half.
Yeah, they really need to treat this last 3:25 as if it's the last 3:25 of the game, not just a half.
All right, they continue to battle with McLeod down low, and Coach Fife went to someone new coming out of the break, and that's Nick Luttrell, a freshman from Nashville. He's 6'8", and he tried to front there coming out of the timeout, and they just tossed it right over to those big, long arms of McLeod.
And McLeod's kind of like a skyscraper. You can just throw it up there, and while everybody else standing on the ground, he can go in the trees and get it.
I heard a lot coming into this game about the talents of Igbavoa. Well, he's had to sit down with 3 early fouls, and you thought that was a break. Not so sure anymore, as McLeod has come off the bench for 7 points now.
You know, Tom, I used to think that when I played, but I started to realize that it was college basketball and everybody was good, and anybody could be a superstar on any given night.
Blackmeyer, 3 on the way is good.
Those are the kinds of shots that we need. He was wide open, he took it, he didn't hesitate, he jumped, he followed through. Excellent shot.
Dons cut it to single digits at 37-28, just under the 3-minute mark here in the first half.
You know, Hopper's been pretty quiet since he's been guarded.
Yeah, they've been mixing up who they've been throwing at him, actually, and he has been quiet. Here's Botts. Rainbow won't go. Tried to get the runner on the baseline, and just, that was a tough shot. The outstretched hands of Huff waiting there for him to try to block that shot. He had to go way high with it. I'd like to see a better shot after being able to get a stop on the other end. Diebler, the turnaround. That's not a good shot.
You know, I like Coach Fife's strategy about throwing multiple guys at Hopper. He doesn't know, he can't get used to who's guarding him, and so he can't get into a flow. I like that strategy.
Here's Johnson on the wing. Blackmeyer, he just did a big shot. Gets it out to Burrows. Young lineup on the floor right now for IPFW. Johnson, the spin, the hang, the bang.
That's the way to go. Come back out. Don't look at the score, just put the ball in the hole.
And timeout, Homer Drew needs to talk it over. 37-30 is our score. We're at the minute and 37 mark, and like you said, Keon, really wanted to look when there was a minute 28 left to go in the first half, like this was the last 3 minutes and 28 seconds to go in the whole game. And it looks kind of like that's what the Dons have done. They've been able to cut into this lead.
Well, if you look at the statistics again, when they're shooting 70%, we're down 10. Shooting percentage is down to 56%, and we're right back in the game.
Absolutely, and they played better defense. Some trouble with the matchup of the 7-1 McLeod down low at times. But as we've mentioned a couple times now, they've been able to keep Hampa in check, and that's been huge for them. Another guy that's been very quiet is McPherson. He had 14 points in the opener, and he has spent time on and off the bench throughout the first half. He's another one that picked up an early foul, but only one. So it's hard to explain why he's been on the bench so much. He's back in the game now for Coach Drew, and they need to continue to check him as they come out in a zone for the first time. This is that 1-3-1 that Coach Fife stole from John Beeline, and it worked well for them times last year.
Well, I think that was a great adjustment. I mean, give them a different look. We're down 7 points right now, and if you look at the statistics, the difference is in the paint. The Dons have got 8 points in the paint. Crusaders will have 16. So if we can kind of keep them outside, we buy some time to get right back in this game. I believe the Dons are going to do some things in the second half that may surprise some people.
McLeod foul line jumper. You're not going to count on him hitting that many times. You could see Valpo not ready for that 1-3-1. They were kind of backpedaling and trying to regroup that entire possession. I'm surprised they got points out of it.
Well, when you're a well-coached team, you know, Coach Drew is probably taking them through situations in practice that got them ready for that, and they stepped back and took an assessment of what was going on.
Bad turnover there by IPFW. Clackmeyer couldn't handle the pass. Tell you what, watching one guy away from the ball that's been kind of entertaining so far in the first half has been Botts. Man, he does not stop moving the entire time he is away from the ball.
Just kind of reminds you of that Allen Iverson guy over in Denver. Just when is he going to slow down, and does he ever get tired? You just kind of get tired watching him move.
Absolutely, and this could be the last possession of the first half. We have 22 seconds left to go in the half. Dons trying to cling to just being down in single digits here. They don't give up any points. Down to 10 seconds in the first half. Here's McPherson. Gives off.
This is when you got to dig in.
McLeod into the lane. Runner won't go. Rebound Johnson, and that will bring an end to the first half for IPFW. They are down 9 at the half to Valpo, and the way that half went offensively for most of the middle portion of the half, to be down single digits isn't too bad. We're going to talk a lot about it here on the halftime show when we come back. Dons down 9 at the break.
I guess I'm like most kids. I work hard, I go to class, and I want a degree that's going to mean something. I had offers from other universities, but I wanted the best out of my college choice. I wanted a great education and the campus life to go with it. Student housing, Division I sports. I found it all right here at IPFW. Hey, this is my university, my life, so it's gotta feel right. I'm really glad I chose IPFW. I love it here. Go to their website.
Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, two great names.
You might be surprised to know the biggest dangers your pet faces are everyday dangers, like drinking from puddles, being boarded, squirrels in the park, and fleas and ticks. Being a pet is risky business. That's why it's important for every pet to receive a risk assessment and wellness exam twice a year. A risk assessment from your veterinary professionals helps create a unique risk profile for your dog or cat. Your veterinarian can then develop a disease protection plan that's right for your pet and the disease threats in your area. Best of all, twice-a-year exams help your veterinarian detect, treat, or prevent health problems before they become serious. So reduce the risks. Contact your veterinarian today for your pet's wellness exam, because being a pet is risky business. A message from the American Veterinary Medical Association and your local veterinarians.
What can Dinosaur Tracks teach us about those long extinct creatures? On this month's edition of IPFW Up Close, we'll discuss Professor Jim Farlow's recent trip to Spain to track those tracks. Do teachers teach differently from one country to another? Professor Jeff Nowak was in Macedonia this summer teaching teachers to teach. We'll talk to him about that experience and about the new NISTEM program. And we'll talk with the campus coordinator of the United Way Fund Drive to find out more about where your contributions are going. Join me, Susan Alderman, for IPFW Up Close, Sundays at noon.
Pizza! Pizza! I must eat. Wait, what is this? Capsicum annum? Agaricus bisporus? Allium cepa?
Can we eat this?
Peppers, mushrooms, and onions. Eat your pizza, man.
Funny.
Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, two great names.
We have reached halftime at Memorial Coliseum. Tommy Schegler along with Keon Henderson. 39-30 is our halftime score. The Dons really went through a slow spurt in the midway portions of this first half, Keon, and that's really where we find ourselves down at this point. They had trouble getting stops, and they had trouble putting the ball in the hole. They had it at a 2-point game, and then it was at a 4-point game for quite some time, but it kind of ballooned out when they hit the cold spot.
Yeah, one of the things that's essential in basketball is distribution. You've got to be able to pass it, and you've got to be able to get something out of it. It always becomes dangerous when the opposition is passing the ball and assists are piling up for them. And as we look at our statistics, for every assist we have 2 turnovers for that. So it's going to be very difficult for us to score when we have the ball and we put it back in their hands. So we're going to have to take care of the ball a little better this second half.
Of course, you've heard coaches talk so many times about wanting to have that 3-to-1 ratio. We have 2-to-1, but it's on the wrong side of things. And, boy, you can't ask for anything more if you're Coach Drew and Valpo. 7 assists dished out by the Crusaders in the first half and no turnovers. And that says something to the defense that was being played, especially first 10 minutes of this ball game.
Well, also what you see is the rebound situation.
Right.
And if you look at it, there's only 4 offensive rebounds combined.
Yeah, that's interesting because we're going to take some looks at the first half stat. First half highlights. That's Hampa, and he was kept quiet for a good portion of the half. We mentioned he started throwing a lot of different people at him. He had 8 points in the first half. That's McPherson dropping one in from the outside. He has also been quiet with 5. Actually, Valpo really kind of getting things from a little bit of unusual suspects. And you kind of say the same thing for IPFW. DeWitt Scott has been quiet. They've gotten some good minutes out of Jakari Johnson. He's got 11 points leading the way for IPFW. Burrows and Bucci were a fun matchup to watch throughout the latter stages of the second half. That was Bucci winning that one with the reverse underneath on Burrows, and then the 3-ball getting knocked down. And this is kind of when Valpo started taking over this game. They hit 3 straight threes in that one little spurt and went from a 4-point game out to a 12-point game. And these are the 3 threes. Bucci finishing it off, nothing but net. And then the Dons really started to battle back. It ballooned down to as many as 12. They did battle back. Plackmeyer stepping up and dropping one in. This all in the last 3 minutes of the half. Jakari, the nice spin move, goes off glass, gets it to drop. They were able to cut it down to 7, and it ended up at 9. And this was when they came out of the timeout, and Coach Dane Fife had the 1-3-1, but that big guy McLeod just hurt us again. So we are at the half. A lot of different ceremonies going on. That's Dr. Wartell at center court with some different ceremonies going on at the half. And we're going to take a break. We'll continue to come back, talk this thing over. 39-30, Valpo up right now on IPFW at the half.
I've gone away to a college where the class size is small.
I've gone away to a college with a beautiful campus.
I've gone away to a college that cares about diversity.
I've gone away to a college where I get to live in my own apartment instead of living in a dorm room.
I've gone away to a college that really isn't that far away at all.
I go to IPFW.
IPFW.
I go to IPFW.
To find out more about college life at IPFW, go to our website. Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, 2 great names.
What do triglycerides or trigs have to do to get noticed? Heart disease and stroke? Really? We should pay her more attention. Normal triglycerides are below 150. High triglycerides increase your risk of heart disease. And if you're a woman, that risk goes up even more. After standing in the shadows of good and bad cholesterol, triglyceride, also known as the forgotten fat, is ready to share the spotlight and the attention. Next time you have your cholesterol or blood fats tested, ask your doctor about the role triglycerides play in your heart health. Remember to ask your doctor about the good, the bad, and the forgotten fat. For more information on all of your blood fats, the good, the bad, and the forgotten, go to ForgottenFat.com. And remember, normal triglycerides are under 150.
This message brought to you by Sister to Sister, working together for healthy hearts.
What can dinosaur tracks teach us about those long extinct creatures? On this month's edition of IPFW Up Close, we'll discuss Professor Jim Farlow's recent trip to Spain to track those tracks. Do teachers teach differently from one country to another? Professor Jeff Nowak was in Macedonia this summer teaching teachers to teach. We'll talk to him about that experience and about the new NISTEM program. And we'll talk with the campus coordinator of the United Way Fund Drive to find out more about where your contributions are going. Join me, Susan Alderman, for IPFW Up Close, Sundays at noon.
Are you in there? What's up? The show's at 7. Whoa.
Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, two great names.
Back inside the Memorial Coliseum, halftime, you see the score there. IPFW down 9 points at the break. Tommy Schegler along with Keon Henderson. And Keon, we talked a little bit at the beginning portions of the half about the different things that were jumping off of the box score of the first half to us. We mentioned the assisted turnovers. Rebounding, you mentioned there's only been 4 offensive boards overall, but I'm kind of surprised the Dons are out rebounding Valpo. That's not something you're going to see very often in an IPFW game, and right now they have a 2-point rebounding advantage.
And it doesn't add up, it seems, because Valpo's not really missing a lot of shots.
Right.
And so you wonder how those things are happening. But again, I can tell that Coach Fife has taught this team about boxing out, going and finding a man before you find the ball, right? Making sure you seal off some space in the paint, because most of the time, long shots equal long rebounds.
Well, and you know, you look over some of the other things that are going on the floor, and you mentioned that it doesn't make a lot of sense. And I would say the only thing I can find on the stats that would tell me why that's happening is the turnovers. Valpo's gotten several more possessions out of the first half because they've had no turnovers compared to 6 for IPFW. So that right there gives the Crusaders 6 more possessions than IPFW had in the first half. But let's talk a little bit about the second half. I mean, the Dons definitely within striking distance. What do they have to do here, especially in the early portions of the second half, to be successful in this one?
Well, if you look at the thing from this perspective, the Dons don't really have a lot of people who've gotten on the board. I mean, you've got Jakari Johnson with 11, you've got Demetrius Johnson with 8, and then you've got a couple other players, one with 5 and a couple with 3. But if you look at Valparaiso, they've got at least, I'm looking at maybe 9 to 10 people who've gotten on the board. You've got 2, 5, 8, 3, 5, 9, 2, and 5. And so when you've got a lot of people sharing the load, the Dons are going to have to get some of those guys on the bench to step up and carry some of this load.
Absolutely. They definitely have got to get a little bit more balance. And a guy that's been completely silent except for 1-3, really, DeWitt Scott. I mean, you got to get DeWitt going, because how he goes a lot of times this year is going to be how the Dons can go, because really, I mean, we've talked a little bit about it. You've got to be able to pull that defense out on the perimeter in order for the big guys that IPFW does have to be able to work down there, because if it's crowded down in the lane, Jerron Burroughs isn't going to be able to do a whole lot.
Well, I guarantee you that in the scouting report, they said if we stop DeWitt, we've got a shot.
Yep.
And so what has to happen is there has to be some other guys who say, you know what, I'm a college athlete too. And if DeWitt's not going to score tonight, then I've got to take up the slack, share his load between 2 people. If we do that, I think the Dons will be fine. I think that we've got that first half out of the way. I think that they know that they can play with him. I'm sure that those jitters are over. One thing I recognize about being an athlete myself, you're only nervous when you first step out there. Once that first shot goes up, then you kind of take a breath and say, all right, we're all equal here. We're all athletes. We're all men. Let's get it on.
Well, it was a battle both times they played last year. It looks like it's shaping up to be a battle again tonight. Stick around for the second half. We're going to take our last break of half. When we come back, second half action here from the Coliseum.